I'll put my shades on.
wook+live.
Yo, welcome back to wook+. I am Weekend Wook, joined by Kev, the great Went. What's up, Kev?
Neither one of us look like Jen, huh? It's good to see you.
Surprise! It's me. You thought you're getting Jen, but you just got me. Suckers.
Come up some family stuff, so
Yeah.
here we are. We got though. I mean, I'm glad. I am so glad. I know you were taking a little break, and that you were like, "I'll hop on with you." But
I'm
we
still
have
taking a little break, though, just to be clear. I
Well,
don't want you
you
to cut
are.
my
I
break
know.
short.
I know. But we got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing
That's
today, and I
huge.
was like,
That's huge.
Tim hates me talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and now we have no choice but to talk about it.
No, I like this conversation. There's two things I don't like. There's two and we'll probably talk about it. One conversation I don't love, and it's not that I even disagree with you. It's just I find the conversation has become tedious over the years because it's the same one every year. Is oh, so and so is not rock and roll. They're R&B or hip hop or pop and like I get it. It's like, dude, does every genre have a Hall of Fame? Is it the Music Hall of Fame? You know, and like we can have that conversation. Like it's interesting enough. It's just we have that conversation every year, and not just like us. Like everybody has that conversation
It's more
every
a
year.
bitch point. It's more a bitch point than anything,
right? And I just don't know that it's the best content, but who knows? The other conversation that we had every year, and this is what I'm really excited about, is the snub conversation. Is like, oh, look at all these fuckers that got into the Hall of Fame. Where's PHiSH? And now, not only is PHiSH on the ballot, I would say they're the runaway favorite. I mean, obviously, I'm partial. I actually, what did you think about the slate outside of PHiSH? Like, did you think it's a strong class? I felt like it was kind of on the weaker side compared to past years.
I thought it was the best class in years, man. I thought it was mostly rock and roll bands, except for Oasis and Mariah Carey.
I mean, I love Soundgarden. I love Joe Cocker. I love Bad Company. So, like, Chubby Checker, yeah.
Did the twist. He's kind of
it's. I don't know, man. I guess it's
that band Mana. That band Mana is well, what we're gonna get is there's 14 people. Usually you get 7 or 8 winners, so it'll be about half. I think Mana is a shoo-in because they're the first Spanish language rock band to ever be nominated. So I think they're going to have that. They're going to give it to them, whether anybody's heard of them or not. And I think that Chubby Checker's definitely going to get in. I think Mariah Carey and Cyndi Lauper are. So that leaves 2 spaces open. Out of Bad Company, the Black
You think
Crowes,
Mariah Carey's going to go on this year?
So many albums she sold, the Christmas thing. I
know. And like that's where that goes back to the conversation. It's like undoubtedly a phenomenal artist, right? And insanely impactful on, you know, her genre. But I don't know. Like I think I could see her getting snubbed a little. I don't even know if it would be a snub. Could be missing out just barely on this one. I don't think she's as shoo-in as Chubby Checker or Cyndi Lauper. I think Lauper and Chubbs. Can I call him Chubbs?
You can call him Chubbs. I think that Outkast, though, has a real good chance.
No way, dude. No way.
Roses?
I think Billy Idol and Joe Cocker are going to be in serious contention. One of those. I don't know both. I think Soundgarden deserves it, but
Joy Division deserves it. New Order, come on. They changed music with Blue Monday.
I think PHiSH deserves it though. I'll be frustrated. I don't know if I'll be pissed or frustrated. I probably won't care that much. I'll be a little bit disappointed. I'll be mildly. No, I mean, honestly, I think I would be kind of pissed though. I think PHiSH's impact is on the same level of all of those bands and artists, though. If not,
right. The only thing they didn't do is sell millions and millions and millions of records. Is the only thing they didn't do that some of those other bands do.
Right, but they're still selling out arenas in 2025
and releasing new music.
And a lot of these other bands aren't or couldn't.
Right, Bad Company hasn't put out a new album
or dead.
Right. I mean, I feel like Bad Company belongs in there, but maybe that's only because I grew up listening to Bad Company and Led Zeppelin and that whole group.
That's my relationship with Soundgarden, right? Like, I grew up loving Soundgarden. It's hard for me to be partial with them.
I feel like Soundgarden deserves it.
Yeah.
There's so many good songs.
I feel like PHiSH is like, all right, this is obviously all in the context of our perception, right? Like, I'm sure other fans for other groups say this, but isn't there like this weird thing where it's like cool to hate on, right? Like, and many different groups. There's the musicians, the elitist, like jazz, symphonic tool bags that are like, they're, can't appreciate it. But then there's like the bros that aren't the PHiSH bros, the other bros, the non-PHiSH bros, right? And like the jocks and shit that I feel like there's a lot of people that's like fashionable to hate on the band. And then, but admittedly, I got to remind myself and put the context. There's also a large contingent of people that completely forgot about them, right? Like they're not front and center on a lot of people's minds.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of big names there. I'm like, wow, only half those names get in, and I can see.
Do you have a live count?
Huh?
Do you have the live count? How they're doing? Because earlier today they shot up on the fan ballot.
Well, somebody earlier said they were up by over 1,000. Less. So, but you know that I found out today. Someone told me that the fan vote counts for one of like 1,100 votes.
Yeah, but a lot of those other votes are heavily swayed by the fans, right? Because they want to make a popular decision. So if you get number one overall on the fan ballot, somebody who's like on the fence with them might be right. Like if PHiSH, say hypothetically, PHiSH holds their lead and ends up just destroying every other band in the fan ballot. Somebody who's like not really that into it, who has a vote, I imagine is going to be like, all right, I'll give them the nod, right? Like they're
right.
Give the people what they want.
People what they
want. I don't know, man. I want to focus more on the positive side of it instead of like already saying, oh, right, they're not going to get in or fucking. Like this is cool in itself that they're on the ballot, right?
Exactly. If PHiSH
like, that's a big thing.
If PHiSH gets in, we have two things. Who nominates them, and do they play, or does someone play a set for them of other musicians playing their songs?
Oh, that would be hard. I don't think they play for themselves, right? Like play themselves in.
See, I think they would. Really? I think that they would be out there and they do You Enjoy Myself and like Evolve.
Yeah, Evolve. I was just gonna say they're gonna fucking do Evolve, and it's gonna be like no, and then everybody here is gonna be like, these guys got in. What
for this?
For this?
I mean, who do you, like
who can play PHiSH? I don't think many bands can play PHiSH.
Right. I think to induct them, let's do the induct them thing first. Who does the speech? I can see them pulling like Rick from Goose because he keeps popping up everywhere. Every Bob Weir thing. But I would
see Bob Weir. I could see Bob Weir doing it.
I would love to hear Dan Castellana from The Simpsons induct them in Homer's voice.
Dave Matthews is a good choice. Chuck and Mike, because their friendships and like Trey has a obviously had a relationship with Bobby, but like especially after Fare Thee Well and Ever, they stay in touch. I think it would be someone bigger and more seasoned than Rick. And that's not just based on my, feelings on Goose. That would be a very weird choice. Very
But
odd
a lot of
choice.
times you get the person inducting them is like, oh, they inspired me so much, yada yada yada. And I'm sure Goose, Rick could go down that road.
Yeah, I mean they played in they didn't induct, but they played in Genesis, right? And that was like they were much younger. And
Wait, what about Pete Shapiro?
Maybe.
I could totally see him doing it, and he has the authority and the the authenticity, maybe that's the word I'm looking for, to be able to do it. He's a fan. He was always a fan.
Yeah. Dave has the authenticity. Like Dave
Yeah,
and Trey are
definitely.
buds.
Did you hear his longtime monitor tech died recently?
Dave's?
Yeah.
No,
Guy worked for him for like 30 years or something, maybe since 94. Yeah, since like 94 or something. 20 some years. Or
I'm still riding out my disconnection thing, and it's glorious. So you can assume I haven't heard anything.
Right. I'm not in the Dave Matthews circle, but I did come across that this morning for some reason.
Is Dave got in like last year, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. So
grinds my gears that he snuck in right ahead.
Does Holdsworth show up and like stand outside the backstage door? Let me in.
Like in a fan mindset, right? Like from like our point of view, I think like Tom would be a cool choice, but they would never do that because he's not a household name and like nobody would know who the fuck he is. But like someone or like Amy or somebody like in the family, like that's been there from the beginning, I could like tell crazy stories and shit. That would be.
What about Drew Carey?
He walks out on stage with his dick in a blender and be like, "These guys, let me tell you." Maybe.
I mean, he's a big name,
Oh, what I did back before wook+live when I had just the blog, I did an article on the most famous PHiSH celebrities, like fans. And there were like that research was nuts. There were crazy people that you wouldn't expect on that list. But there's a lot of real famous PHiSH fans that might jump in there. Dude, I don't know. I don't watch the ceremony that often. Like I can remember a handful over the years, but like, do you watch it each year? Like, are they other musicians typically? Are they celebrities? Are they like managers and family and shit? Like, what is it usually?
Usually it's somebody who was influenced by him. Like Trey introduced Genesis. And then PHiSH played a couple Genesis tunes.
Yeah,
they played
an old one. They Watchers
played a Peter
in the Sky.
Gabriel. Right, yeah, they played Peter Gabriel tune. Why have they not done that again? And then they did one of the later ones, like Stand in the Rain, Waiting for the Phone Call, One Misunderstanding or something like that. I forget which one they did. One of the Phil Collins tunes. But yeah, that's what you usually get is somebody, this person really, influenced me, yada yada. And they go through the whole litany of that kind of thing. Or they run a collage.
Yeah, PHiSH isn't collage level.
No,
that's like Chubby Checker might be a collage level, right? Like the history and stuff.
There's probably no one alive who was around when he played.
Chubbs, my good boy Chubbs.
Like
their grandson, my grandpa Chubbs.
Can I tell you my problem with Chubby Checker?
Yeah.
Like you had Bo Diddley and you had Chuck Berry and you had these real authentic blues guys who had crossed over and were doing pop songs. And the record companies were like, we need a black person who's more white. And so they brought on Chubby Checker to do the twist in order to make it okay that their teenage daughters were dancing to a black man's music.
Is that your opinion, or did you see like that in like a report?
That's my take on it.
He didn't. I mean, I wasn't around. Like that was what
he was very clean cut. He had a really cute face,
Yeah,
He
I
did,
mean, and I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't in the context of the times, but he never struck me as whitewashed. He had, I don't know.
eh,
Yeah,
the twist. What else did he do? Come on. Anyway, he's gonna get in definitely.
he did Let's Twist, The Twist,
Right.
Slow Twistin'.
Right. But then,
His top 5 songs: Twistin' USA,
eh,
20
which
Twist,
was his
Let's
Beach
Twist
Boys
Again.
song, right? Yeah. And then you had like a whole other like group of artists cropped up, like Joey D and the Nightlighters had like the peppermint twist, and they had so then you had all these other people come up with these other songs that were all kinds of other twist prize, yes. And I would say that the best twist that could be done on that stage that night would not be Chubby Checker's twist.
I mean, PHiSH's twist. PHiSH should do a twist set where they do Chubby Checker's twist and their twist, and they twist them around.
Twist, twist, twist. That
uh,
would be fantastic.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so you saw the festival thing too. We didn't get to talk about that. PHiSH playing Bourbon and Beyond. And they have quite a history in 3.0 that I didn't realize. Outside Lands, Lock-In, a couple Bonnaroo
Bonnaroo, yeah.
appearances.
They did, that was real big in 3.0 for a while, and then they stopped. Well, I guess they didn't stop. What was the last one? Lock-In? That was a couple of years ago. I remember
No,
Lock-In.
well, maybe when was the last Bonnaroo? Wasn't that 2019?
Oh, was that after Lock-In?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
Lock-In
it
was
was
like
18 or
yeah.
no, 17 was Baker's, and then 18 I think was Lock-In, and 19 was, I think,
Right.
was
I
Bonnaroo.
think so. Was the other Bonnaroo that they did.
I have a soft spot because, as many of you watching know, I'm sure I've talked about it. My first time experiencing PHiSH live was at a Bonnaroo, and it's really great, a really great experience if you have the right what is it? Not set list, artist list, like lineup, right? Because the late nights, like a overnight Mo set in between the PHiSH days was perfect. Like I couldn't think of, it was literally the best PHiSH experience doing all of, even though it was a Mo experience, but you know what I mean. And then there's also something very cool about the like takeover. I don't want to say like that. That's the wrong word, takeover, but like when you're like in like the mainstream with like everybody else, but the number of PHiSH fans dominate, right? Like they like at that Bonnaroo, there were 9 Inch Nails people that were there for them. There were Bruce people, but it was very clearly PHiSH was
people.
the draw for that, and it was just a cool thing, right? To like to see all that. Now, on the other hand, there are festivals I've heard that I haven't been to where the lineup is sus, and there's artists that like don't really blend well, and the fan bases don't blend well. And I've heard people say it's terrible, right? Well, and then also what I can attest to is like the music, that kind of festival PHiSH. It's so funny when people say festival PHiSH, there's two very, very distinct flavors. There's PHiSH Festival PHiSH, which is an awesome flavor, but then there's like vanilla. We just play all our hits, one set, hit all the, and that's
90 minutes. Right, we get 90 minutes or 100 minutes, maybe. That's what it is.
Unless cool it's your first show, though. Your first show, it was awesome to get all the hits because I had been a fan for 15 years or 20 years leading up to that, just waiting, and it's like I remember the sample, the like gold, like everything that you were like waiting to get, you got in one night, which was fucking awesome. But other than the cool side, it's not good.
The cool thing at Jazz Fest, Jason, right? That was probably their first big festival. The thing though with like vastly different bands, like let's say you have 9 Inch Nails playing, then all the 9 Inch Nails people cycle out from the front and let the PHiSH people cycle in for the PHiSH set. And then if somebody else comes on, the PHiSH people cycle out and someone else cycles in,
What Bonnaroo did great in 09, and I can't speak to the other years, but they had 2 big stages. And they actually had PHiSH and 9 Inch Nails playing, I think, either at the same time or like literally like boom, boom, right? It was like a second, one goes up. And I remember being so impressed and just blown away by their lights because they're not like PHiSH lights, right? Like they're very stroby and heavy and everything. But then going back to the campsite and all the 9 Inch Nails people saying that they got fixated on PHiSH lights, like they'd never seen anything like it. So like it is cool. I guess that's one thing, is you get to experience something that otherwise you never would get to experience. But we didn't cross paths that much because they kind of kept them on separate sides of the. I was pretty fucked up. This is a foggy memory, but I remember being on pretty far sides, away from each other.
Or what do they call it? This and that stage?
This and that, yeah. And like it was like PHiSH and Bruce, right? Because like they switched off nights. I think PHiSH was like Friday, Sunday, and Bruce was Saturday. But then 9 Inch Nails was parallel to PHiSH. So it's like I don't think you could have seen both PHiSH and 9 Inch Nails unless you were in the very back. But I don't know.
Yep.
So what is this bourbon lineup? Is it look any? I don't know anything about this festival. Does this thing look legit? Does the lineup look good? What's the deal with this? What's the deal with bourbon?
Sturgill, I think, is playing. Hold on, let me pull it
people
up.
like him, right?
Right, people do. We had his former bassist on once.
We did.
He is not playing with him anymore, though. I was looking through that footage the other day. I downloaded just the hour.
I saw you doing see, I told you taking a little step back for a little bit was good. It injects some what do you call it? Permission structure. It's like just fucking, I think it's a good thing. What is this thing called? Bourbon
and Beyond. PHiSH, Noah Kahn, Sturgill Simpson, the Lumineers, Jack White are the top row.
What? Say that again. What? That's a crazy fucking top row.
Noah Kahn.
Who's that?
Sturgill Simpson, the Lumineers, and Jack White. And then the next is Alabama
Noah
Shakes.
Kahn? I know
Noah
Sturgill.
Kahn he's some huge dude. His name popped up on me last year. I'd never heard of him, and people are like, "Oh my god, Noah Kahn, he's the greatest."
That's the craziest fucking lineup I've ever heard.
But
That's
then
the
you get
weirdest mix of
though,
people.
You get down further though, and you get Goo Goo Dolls, you get Ringo Starr, Joe Bossa Nova. I mean, a bunch of other like weirder names.
Foreigner, that would be fun, but also really strange.
Right, Spin Doctors, The Hold Steady, Switchfoot, and Robert Cray Band on one line.
A Collective Soul. Oh my god, they have an opportunity to do the funniest thing ever.
Shine, baby. Shine.
That would be amazing.
But
this is the most nonsensical. You know what this reminds me of? All right, this is gonna sound like a dick thing to say, but have you ever gone on Cameo? And it's just like washed up 90s celebrities and shit. Like for $10, I'll say happy anniversary. Like this looks like the fucking festival version of Cameo.
Right. Or wish your boy happy birthday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got you one. Well, we got you one of those.
Yes, Eddie Spaghetti. Are you calling Eddie Spaghetti washed up?
No,
but they were huge.
I remember Switchfoot. I remember. These are all bands that I never would have thought of without reading them on a screen. But like I know them all very well.
Right, Blues Travelers in there, I think. Maybe a Goo Goo Dolls, because
I don't know if I would be super excited about any of these though. Like I would check them out. I'd be curious, but I wouldn't be like, oh, I can't wait to catch any of them, really.
But I tell you what, the 4-day pass was $300. So you're getting $75 a day. You pay $75 just to see PHiSH. So I don't know what a single day is, but even if a single day is $100 and you catch one other band that's cool.
Did they say how many nights they're playing?
It's the one night, Friday. They're playing the second night. So that's going to be the start of their tour in the fall, I guess.
And this is in New Orleans?
No, it's in Kentucky. Bourbon.
Oh. I was thinking Bayou. Oh, I'm such a fuckhead. When it first popped up, I read it as Bourbon and Bayou, and I thought it was like a weird Kentucky / but then then it's Beyond. I was half awake. Yeah. I'm not going to Kentucky. Fuck that. Sorry.
No, why would anybody? I mean, people are going to shoot me for saying this, but why would I go to Kentucky where marijuana is illegal? Where
if I lived in Kentucky or near Kentucky, I would probably go, but I'm not. No, I don't think we're doing that.
Not cool. But I think that's gonna start the fall tour, which I've heard is gonna be like
Mary Chapin
Atlanta.
Carpenter. What the fuck? This is such a weird lineup. Am I the only one that thinks this is crazy?
Well, I tell you what, the guy who puts it on, I don't know the name off the top of my head, but apparently he has big money, and it's just like things
it's like his
he just
guilty
brings in the
pleasures.
band, right?
He probably just called like 1,000 artists, and whoever was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Like, all right, you're in.
Right. I mean, I'll give you 5,000 and I'll put you up for the night. All right, I'll show up and do that. Dave Matthews played there a few years ago. Dave Matthews.
Is this an ongoing festival? Does this have a history?
10th year. This is the 10th.
Oh, I've never heard of it before.
I guess they probably skipped 2000.
2020.
2020, yeah.
Yeah,
2020,
I know what you meant. I do the same thing, man. It's like 20 years of my life just disappeared. It's a very odd thing.
Dude, it's no way it's been 5 years since COVID started.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah, Jason, it does feel like a cruise ship. Like a weird cameo cruise ship.
Julie McCoy. She's gonna send you up to the Carbonara deck or whatever. You're like your jaw's just hanging open reading
it. Do they have the draw? Like they have to sell individual tickets, right? Like individual, because like I can't see if you're a Sturgill fan. Like, are you going to be going to see
they're
PHiSH
selling
or vice
individual
versa?
tickets. Yeah, it costs more. It's probably like $1.20 with fees for a single day. But first, they're only selling the 4-day passes. I think is how the kind of thing works. You know what I'm saying? You know, as you get closer, you'll be able to buy single days. The issue is if you sell someone a 4-day pass in there, then, you know, how do you get rid of the other people who only bought 1 day? That's always, I guess, been the thing because you let people into the grounds.
No, same way they did at fucking Mondegreen. The campgrounds and the concert field are different. You have to show your pass each time.
Right.
So you can let them hang out in the campsite, but
you sort of had to show your pass.
I mean, some people really had to show their pass. Other people didn't. No, you had to. You had to because if you didn't check out, and then then you couldn't check in, right? That would fuck people up. Or at least they told us they would. I don't know if it would have for.
Yeah, I made sure to hold my hand up. I tell you what, though, I still got my chip.
Wrapped in tinfoil.
Yeah. You ain't tracking me, motherfucker.
Oh, you're funny, man.
We're having none of that. None of that. What were some of the other? Oh, Paul McCartney. Are you a Paul McCartney fan?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you like the Beatles and you appreciate it. Paul McCartney did this show last night. He's doing another one tonight at the Bowery Ballroom. 550 tickets. People lined up at 7 in the morning. You got one ticket for one person, no buying your buddy a ticket or anything. And he ran through about a 2/3 set list of what his normal show is. You know, hitting all the Beatles high points, all the Wings high points. But I love that he's still doing that because he's got to be pushing 80. He doesn't need to be out there playing anymore.
Yeah, well, he certainly doesn't need to financially or anything, but he might have the itch still. He's I consider him to be one of, if not the greatest rock musicians. Like the Beatles, as much as people always credit Lennon, like John, I think the Beatles are McCartney. Like if you had to, right? Like it's all four of them, but if you had to say, like you would say
the production,
right? PHiSH is Trey, right? The Beatles were Paul, like everything. And then the other thing too is the bass is a very hard instrument to play while singing melody, generally, right? But then his bass lines specifically are even harder to play while singing those melodies. And not only that, he's one of the best early, not anymore, but like I think one of the best rock and roll like male singers there ever was. So it's like to have that phenomenal of a voice and do that kind of execution. And you listen like something. And the coolest thing I think about, I'm going on this weird tangent. I apologize, but like the greatest thing I think about the Beatles is how easy they make it sound when you just listen to it passively without like digging in. You're like, oh, that's super fucking simple. And then like my buddy's he does the Beatles tribute bands and shit, so he knows every note of every song and everything. And he would like break them down in the parts and the chord progression shit. And it's like there's some really complicated, intricate, and like not unique now because everybody and their asshole brother has been influenced. Even if you don't say it, if you're playing rock and roll, you're influenced at some level by the.
If you like Oasis, you were influenced by the Beatles because
right.
Oasis,
Even if you don't listen to the Beatles, you listen to somebody who listened to the fucking Beatles. But like at the time was just the most insane shit. And so yeah, I'm a huge Paul McCartney fan. Apparently, I didn't realize that about myself until you asked. But yes, the answer is yes. I fucking love Paul McCartney.
And it's so cool that he decided that he wanted another band because he could have gone on as Paul McCartney and made millions and put out all that albums. But he's like, I want to be Wings. I want to have a bunch of other people with me, you know?
Live and Let Die is one. I keep saying this. I got to get off my like holy like the bit, but I love that song. It's such an incredible composition. Bam, 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 bam. It's so fucking good
for a James Bond movie. All that for a James Bond. Do you know that Band on the Run was the 5th album that he put out in 3 years after the Beatles broke up? 5 albums in 3 years.
Say that again.
Band on the Run.
It was the 5th album in 3 years, and it was the 3 years directly after the Beatles breaking up. That's nuts. Which makes you wonder if how much shit with John and George and all that didn't happen. Like, what would have, like, what the Beatles would have produced with all of that? Because did you watch that Disney documentary, the
Get Back?
Yeah,
fantastic. Oh my god!
And like he was fucking really driving the ship at that point. I mean, I guess he did the whole time, but like. Yeah, man.
Oh, but that behind the scenes stuff where they're actually, you watch them, like Get Back, you watch it click. You watch Lennon and McCartney back and forth and figure it out. It's just,
good.
God, how often do you get to be a fly on the wall to like brilliance like
that? Not often, man. Well, that level, yeah, like never.
Exactly. More people need to film themselves in the studio because you never know when the song's going to be the one that hits.
I was gonna say there's people watching right now that are witnessing brilliance. It's so funny because after that doc came out, what is it, Dig a Pony? I had that song stuck in my head for like a month straight. I just could not get it out of my head.
I would love to see PHiSH take a stab at One After 909.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Have they ever done? They've never done that, right?
No, they've done Walrus. They've done A Day in the Life and the whole White Album.
Right.
When they did Cry Baby Cry in Hampton in '98, I was like, this is like a slow song that needs to show up again. But
Day in the Life's a phenomenal encore.
Oh my god, it's a phenomenal.
They haven't played that in a while. I don't think
they played it once or twice in. Perhaps in 4.0.
You want to know
in Hampton, they did it for the 3rd song, right, of the night. Yeah. It was like something in David Bowie maybe, and then they played Day in the Life. And afterwards, me and my buddy are going through the set list, and we're like, man, what was that other song they played? And it took us like 20, 30 minutes, and we were like, oh, A Day in the Life. They played A Day in the Life.
Day in the Life was the encore of my first show, that Bonnaroo show. The classic one monster set that had all the hits, right? Had the Day in the Life. That was a good show.
What is I guess it's hard to write a set list when you only have one set to do.
Well, it depends who you're writing it for. I think it works for. And I think that's what he has in mind, right? It's casual fans that aren't going to go see PHiSH. Maybe it was, you know what? It's like people, I used to see him back in the 90s. I've kind of moved on with my life, but they're playing Bonnaroo, so I'm going to go. And they play all the the hits to like re-spark it. Us being jaded fucks that listen to every single show, if they do that now, we're kind of like, oh, that was a boring, right?
Right.
Settlers. But like, if you haven't listened to them in 20 years and you go in and you get that, I mean,
But then how do you explain like a Dick set when it's rained and they have to combine into one set where it's
but
hit
see,
or
that's
miss?
not planned though. I think that's just,
Do you
off the
think Trey,
cuff.
like, do you think Trey's gonna sit down and think about the Bourbon and Beyond? Because
Yeah.
as we've seen over the past few years, it's all mostly him calling the songs as they're playing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
He's going to think about it. They're not going to write it out. They're not going to like pre-plan it, but he's going to think about it. They're going to have a list of songs that's
MoMA in the 2 spot.
ready.
They're gonna have a MoMA in the 2 spot.
No, I don't think so. You think
Sample
so?
MoMA to open.
Sample, yeah. I could see that. I could see a Poor Heart. I could see a couple covers in there. But
Maybe.
yeah,
But
maybe MoMA.
an Evolve.
An Evolve.
We gotta
Lonely
sell the
Trip.
albums. Right, we
More.
gotta sell albums. Did you see that short I put up? It's some of your best work. The one I put up today.
Which ones you put up today?
When I remember I asked Tom Marshall, I was like, Fuego's birthday is tomorrow. Can you rank fish ups? And you're like, dude, you aren't gonna ask Tom Marshall to rank.
Are you really asking Tom Marshall to rank? Yeah, that was fun. What else?
And all he did was give us 3. He said he really liked Sigma Oasis. Then he was like Billy Breeze Rift and Goose. And he's like, and that one you mentioned is somewhere else down there. So he was not a Fuego fan, apparently.
Fuego slaps, dude. Fuck that. Tom doesn't always talk about it. That's a good. No, I don't know if it's a good album. It's a good song. You know what's weird with that too is Sigma Oasis feels like it's brand new still, but that Tom interview feels like it was 2 decades ago, and like it really fucked my head up when he's talking about like Sigma Oasis coming out. I was like,
I heard Thread the other day, the studio version, and what the first thing I thought was COVID. It just totally reminded me of a certain place and time being COVID. Because they put it out, we all latched onto it. We're like, "Oh my god, we got new fish!"
Well, it is really good. I still think that's a great album.
It's solid because they did it the right way. They showed up in a room and they played.
Yeah.
As opposed to Evolve, where like Phil Spector's like, "I want my song back." Stop with the strings already, you know?
I thought you liked Evolve. Were you not on the Evolve train?
T. That would be T.
Yeah, I knew it was one of you guys.
I
don't know. You planning to watch Cat this weekend?
I am. I saw some reviews though. It's kind of getting panned.
Yeah, every Marvel movie gets panned these days.
Hey, people are like, "Why do they even bother?" And I'm like, "Because it's good shit, man." Oh, Llama, it said he tried to join, but it didn't give me any stuff. Oh well. We wish Llama would have been. So Graham Lesh, did you see the thing about Graham Lesh doing shit for his dad?
Oh no, that's nice. Got the band back together.
Unbroken Chain. It was 2 nights, then they added a third, and now they just added a fourth that is going to be the Q, the classic Phil lineup with Warren, Molo, Jimmy Herring, and Baracco on keyboards. So
are they still doing the GD60 thing this summer?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that kind of fell through.
Well, I mean, they're doing the Sphere, right?
Yeah, and who else is doing the Sphere? Somebody just said somebody else was doing the Sphere.
Backstreet Boys. God, I was hoping. I mean, the problem with the Backstreet Boys is
it's a perfect act for it.
They aren't though. They're a dance band. What are you going to flash them up on the screen dancing?
Yeah.
They aren't like a visual band.
No, they are a visual band. Have you ever seen a Backstreet Boys or NSYNC show or anything?
No, I have not. Sorry.
Yeah, they have the huge fucking stage setups with the big screens and shit already. It's like not now, but like whenever they were popular, like 20 years ago. That I think it would actually translate super well. Right. And like there's a lot of middle-aged women that were like teeny boppers when they were big that now have a lot of disposable income. It's the fucking female version of what PHiSH was. PHiSH was like all the PHiSH fans now bunch of bros that have a lot of disposable income because they're all in their 40s and 50s. That's what Backstreet Boys. They have a bunch of women that now have a shit ton of money that are like.
Now, is Backstreet Boys the one that the guy from Blue Bloods it was in? Marky Mark or whoever?
I know I just gave the impression that I know a lot about them. I don't know a lot about them. My sister
Donnie
was
Wahlberg, maybe it was
no, that was New Kids on the Block, wasn't it? Marky Mark.
New Kids on the Block, right? And Marky Mark was the Funky Bunch.
The Funky Bunch, yeah.
God help me.
I
should not know that.
I saw an interview with Mark Wahlberg, and he's like talking about how like hard he was when he was like Marky Mark and shit, which is like whatever, it's cool. But then they showed a clip while he's talking of him, and he looks like such a dork. And you're just like,
not.
It's so funny. Whoever edited the video like really like undercut him because he was like talking about like the street life and shit. They show him, and you're like, bro, come on.
Show him having a croissant, very dainty.
I mean, apparently, like he got like arrested a bunch of times and like you know, like got in trouble and shit. But it just the look does not match the story at all.
One of the NSYNC guys played the 8x10 when I worked there, right? And they charged $200 or something for people to climb up the rickety ass back steps and meet the guy up in the dressing room. And there were like 40 women who were just waiting in line.
That's what I'm talking about. These are the people that are going to sell at the Sphere. I'm predicting it now. Backstreet Boys are going to be huge at the Sphere. There is a 35 to 45-year-old women like age group demographic. That's the word I'm thinking of. That's just they're gonna show up for it, man.
They're gonna eat it up.
So I guess PHiSH is off the. They're off the
I
Sphere.
think after that you're gonna get a Beyonce or something, because she's touring Cowboy Carter tour. I think she's gonna sell out all the shows that she put out the other day, and then turn around and say, "Oh, I'm playing 18 nights at the Sphere. In case you want to spend some more money."
Yeah.
Maybe Taylor Swift. I think she's probably going to dump that loser she was dating.
How's the rest of the world feel about the Super Bowl? Because I'm in the Philly bubble, and it's different here.
I think most people could have cared less in this country, but I think that when Philly won, they're a blue-collar team. They aren't, nothing against KC as a city or the people or anything there, but the ownership is very... tomahawk chop. Come on, guys. Let's get past this,
I grew up hating Philly sports because I lived in Jersey and I was on the New York side of it, and like we just didn't like South Jersey and everything. But now living here, I gotta say this fan base and like the people, it's fun to watch. Like I've never that night when the whistle blew, almost instantaneous. Like they had to have it all set up. Fire, and keep in mind, I live like an hour outside the city. Like I'm not like in the city, right? Like I'm pretty far out west now. Like seconds after the whistle blew, fireworks were going off, horns were honking. I heard reports like 5 miles from us on Main Street, they had a makeshift parade, and there were dozens of them, all the towns, all around, just parades and shit all night. And like it's been like for days now. What is it? Wednesday? For days they've maintained this chaotic energy of just like. And then, like,
I talked to my Friday. The parade's tomorrow.
The actual parade is on Friday, but like, and these aren't even like organized, planned parades. Like, these are just a spontaneous, like everyone and their brother getting out and waving flags and shit.
What are you talking about, Jason? Where's the speed?
I don't know that. That's probably the drunks in the city. They have a reputation of whether they win or lose, they destroy the city. Climbing poles, knocking down.
Essie, let me field this for you. The thing with Beyonce, the reason that I feel like she could play the Sphere is because if you do 18 shows, it's a destination thing. There aren't 70,000 people per night to sell out 18 stadium shows of Beyonce in one place. But 20,000 seats she could sell out over 18 nights because people in Vegas are like, "Oh, I'll pay $300 to see Beyonce tonight at the Sphere because she's Beyonce."
I think it's still below her, though. I agree with Dave SC on that.
You don't think she would want to embrace that technology?
I don't think she's at the residency phase of her life yet. I think or her career. I think she will eventually do that, right? They all did, like Celine Dion and all them, but like I don't think she's at that point now. Maybe the
Yeah, but
technology, maybe as
the
like
sphere is
a
different
novel
than
thing.
right. The sphere is different than Dion doing
Dion.
a engagement at a small club that holds 2,000 people, and she plays there for 3 months. The sphere is a legitimate arena size venue.
Yeah.
There's a difference between paying 2,000 seats a night and filling 20.
Right. And doing 18 nights or doing 60 nights or whatever it is.
Right. Exactly. People go see Celine Dion because everything else was sold out.
My wife was a huge Celine fan.
God,
It's
have you
like
ever
your
seen
guilty
her do
pleasure.
have you ever seen her do You Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC?
No.
You got to look that up. She just kills the song. I'm like, why would you even go there? Why?
Yeah.
God help me. Now I'm gonna have to dig that out. That's
Oh
fantastic.
man.
That's what happens, you know. So we got we got the tour coming up. I think on Tuesday we're going to get the summer tour announcement. Are you planning on trying to do anything? I guess the man is on the board, huh?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna hit the man. I'm gonna try to hit it with Christina. I kind of she with the baby when the big kids were young. Because before we had the baby, she was like the person I went to every show with, and then when the baby
I got
was
her
young,
ticket the last time they played.
yeah,
The last time you were at the man, I got her extra ticket because you were like, "Yeah, she isn't going."
yeah. Well, and I get it. Like I'm not judging, right? But like when the baby was
Right.
young, she was just didn't want to go out go out for the night with the babysitter. But now that the kids are older, I think she'd be down. So I think her and I are gonna try to do that. Does that make sense? I don't know if you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
no, it
Like
makes sense. What about South Carolina?
yeah, probably.
Go
We'll
visit the
probably
family. That's an
yeah.
easy call.
Yeah, we
You
get it.
definitely get her to go to that because you can leave the kids somewhere.
Is that supposed to be at North Charleston?
Yeah, North Charleston. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that place.
Even take the kids one night. I guess the little one's still too little, huh?
For Charleston, yeah. For the man, no. We could totally bring them to the man.
Oh, because way back on the lawn
Way
where it's
back on
not
the
loud.
lawn. And the man has cool little alcoves and shit where you can like just do family shit.
Right.
My fear is, and I'm not judging anybody because I'm one of you at these shows, but like I've been at shows where we're like spun and like people come up and like they're like pass you like whatever and shit. And like it's awesome, right? Like I'm not complaining at
Right.
all, but my fear is that like I'll be at the show with Evie or whatever, and some spun woke will be like, "What?" and come up and just like hand me whatever mushrooms or something, and be like, my 6-year-old's right here, back up.
Last time, the last Dead and Company tour, when they played Philly, I took my oldest with me, Cayenne. And after the show, she's like, "I'm going to go to Shakedown," because we got there and we were trying to find tickets, so we didn't get to do that. And I was like, "Sure." And we're walking along, and this kid who's her age, he's like 20, 19. "Great win. What's up, man?" And he introduces me to his dad, and I'm like, "Oh, this is my daughter." It was just this weird, like,
Yeah. No, she's
God
a good
help.
age though for going. I like when Evie's 18, 19, 20, I would totally go bring her, but like she's at an age where I would take her to music, but we'd probably like go right into the show early, be on like the
Right.
family spot and like leave and not go to Shakedown or anything. But no, I would say babysitters this year. I'd say I would much rather go hang out with Christina and see a show and you guys, right, than like bring the kids there.
Right, Cayenne with 2 A's, Matthew, and named for the fact that people in Baltimore couldn't pronounce cayenne right, and we all said cayenne pepper, and that's where it came from. So it was a bad joke that ended up as the poor kid's name. Pretty name though.
That's the reason, really?
Yes,
I
yes,
never
it was
knew
a
that.
joke. Yes. And her middle name's Geneva because we thought it was a romantic city.
I thought
That's how you end up with your names, kids.
So Evie, did you ever see The Mummy? The woman in the Mummy,
Uh,
the movie, is named
uh,
Evelyn or Evie, and like apparently my wife just that was what it was. She saw that and she was like, "I'm gonna name." She had that name for like however many years, 20 years. She's like, "I'm gonna name my kid Evie."
what
And then
about
I
the
got
younger one? Is the younger one named after the Lord of the Rings?
yes, unapologetically
Okay.
yes.
Because
We
that's what my daughter said when I told her name, my younger one. She was like the Lord of the Rings, and I was like, I guess.
Yeah, Eowyn. It's
Yeah,
funny too because people don't know. It's like if you know, you know, but most people don't know, and like they have no idea how to pronounce it, how to spell it. But I don't know. I love it. I think it's cool.
my youngest I got lined up for later this year. Devo is playing. They're doing their 50th anniversary tour,
Oh,
and we're
cool.
gonna go see Devo. Me and the youngest, me and Cerise, and then in November I just saw today, earth shattering, something I've wanted to do my whole life. Patti Smith is touring, and she's going to
Oh
play
yeah, I've
the
heard you
anthem
talk
in
about it all the
DC.
time.
Yeah, and she's also playing the Met. And Cerise was more inclined to go to the Met in Philly because you could sit down, as
That's
opposed to.
have you done that venue?
I saw Trey there
Yeah, it's a cool
after
venue.
quarantine. It
That's
is. It's a
nice.
cool place.
I've
We
seen a
actually
couple
were
of shows
driving
there.
by the front of it, and we saw David Stane standing out front. And we got him to hop in the car, and we hijacked him and took him to a bar and got him drunk.
I love David.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He is definitely.
He,
So
he's always
next,
just chilling. Always has a good vibe going. Like no matter what else is going on, you see him, he's just smiling, like have a good vibe. I love people
let me
like that.
let me ask you this, because I know that Mike's grooving and a lot of other people over on the Discord. Make sure you join the Discord. There's a link down in the show notes. Um, I've been talking a lot of Goose. They've all been watching Goose shows over there. And did you get to
Really?
see any of them as a 4-piece now without Jeff?
I haven't seen anything since Jeff left, but I'm intrigued by it. Have you?
Much better, much better.
I
Tighter,
would.
tighter
I
and
could have guessed
looser.
that.
Right,
Yeah.
tighter and looser at the same time. If that makes
So
sense.
no, it makes perfect
They
sense.
were
And this is.
greasy. I would call it greasy. They were letting it go.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound very factual, like it's based on insider knowledge, and I will say I know nothing. I've heard nothing. This is 100% speculation and my observation of it. And I love Ben. He's a great guy. Ben was a weaker drummer, just flat out. As a drummer, I think he was a weaker drummer. And I think Rick was hypersensitive to it. And I think it grinded Rick's gears. And I think they brought Jeff in to pad out because Rick in his head hears Fishman. Ben couldn't give it to him. So they got Jeff. I can't believe I know all these fucking names. I'm kind of mad at myself to pad out Ben and to fill it out. Ben and Rick have their issue, whatever. Say goodbye. They get Cotter. Cotter, not saying he's at Fishman's level, but it's much closer to Fishman's style and can play.
Style, right? It's a style thing,
Right. And the chops and the finesse and everything. And then all of a sudden, Jeff feels hugely out of place because
He's trying
not
to play
only is
guitar,
he's not needed to enhance, but he's holding him back because he's filling in when it's already the perfect balance. If you have the perfect amount of notes and rests, anything else you do, it's like putting extra salt in a perfectly seasoned dish. It just fucks it up. Ben needed the extra salt. Cotter didn't. So I am not surprised. I haven't heard it, but I am not surprised at all
Does
that
Jeff come
without him,
back?
it's much better.
Does Jeff come back?
No. No, no way. If it's truly sounding better and it's noticeably better, and again, I know nothing. I have no fucking idea. But like my impression with Rick is that above everything else, he has a sound that he wants, and that's what makes the decision. Which
That's why it's the Rick
respect.
Band. That's why I keep joking. It's the Rick Band. It's called
Of
Goose,
course,
but
you
it's like
need
Dave
somebody who
Matthews
has that
Band, right?
vision and that ear and the balls to make the decision to say this is what we're doing. And
Right.
yeah,
Snacks and Mike, what do you think about this? Because I know you've been watching it. And Jason, to get back to McCartney, Tim, what Beatles song, would you want to see Goose do?
Goose. Oh
I
man.
want to see him do a Wings tune. I would like to see them take a stab. Somebody mentioned 1984 earlier at that track off of Band on the Run, the closing track to it.
Yeah, or
I
like
think
Jet or
that would be fun.
something.
Or Jet, something off that album.
That would
Band
be,
on the Run, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
something, yeah, like Wingspan, like, because they do the 80s, 90s kind of, like, not 90s, like 80s sound actually really
Oh,
well.
dude, they murdered a Prince tune the other night. I happened to stumble into part of a Prince tune, and God, they murdered that thing.
Did
I don't know
they?
what they were thinking. I've heard him try to do Pat Benatar before. I'm like, what are you thinking?
Really?
All those Kenny logins.
I heard, I
Jay,
mean, I don't know, but I heard that they do that shit really good.
I changed all my passwords to Kenny, so I have Kenny logins.
Yeah.
We're giggling like schoolgirls. There you go. Their jams are a lot more polished and they bring it back better. I don't know how much Jeff
Better than
actually
who?
changed.
Wait, Mike's saying better than who?
Bring it back than they were with Jeff when they were a
Oh,
5-piece. He's saying it's a
oh.
4-piece. They're more nimble, huh, Mike? Because you don't have another voice there you're trying to reel in, which makes sense. We
Yeah.
will see what happens. All right.
And Jeff just kind of bothered me. I don't know why, but like everybody complained about what's his face? Pete? Who's the guitar piano player?
Peter.
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 People complained about Peter, I think, but Jeff was the one that just rubbed, like, I don't know. I'm sure he's a great guy. Like, it's such a dick move to sit here not knowing anything about somebody and like judging him and shit. But there was just something about him that was like, I don't know.
I feel like Peter was automatically in because back in 2019, when you interviewed Rick, Peter was with him. He brought him along, and Peter was new to the band at the time.
I interviewed Peter and Rick.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got the interview with Rick, and he brought Peter along, who was the new guy. He didn't bring Trevor with him. He didn't bring Ben with him. He brought,
We interviewed Ben too.
Yes, we did with Greg. Greg Knight. Where did Greg Knight go? I haven't heard from that guy in a long time.
I don't know, man. I'm disconnected. I'm gonna stay disconnected probably for like 3.5 to 4 years. Just throwing out a random number.
But you're doing
then I'll come out of my cocoon and I'll be like, "What's been going on out here, everybody?"
All right, I'll send you a 12-pack of Red Bull, but you got to do the after shows on the West Coast with me.
What? We'll see.
You got a month and a half. You got a month and a half to psych yourself up. Take off till then.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Because that other guy is probably going to be at the shows.
Right. Well, fucking bring on Dave and Mike.
Like I said, you'll be coming on with me for at least half of it.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate you. We can't let Kev try to guilt me back in.
I'm not guilting you. I'm just saying I'm giving you 6 weeks to get your shit together and do the after shows with me. I mean, I have to have you there for the after shows. You're my partner. You're my
technically
foil.
You're my part, but right.
That's we're each other's foil. I mean, it works so beautifully.
Yeah,
anyway,
I probably will.
Right, like, subscribe. Make sure
we got close enough. I didn't think we were gonna hit an hour, but I think
we are gonna hit an hour by the time we run through everything.
Yeah.
We want to next Tuesday make sure to pay attention to the channel because PHiSH is going to drop the summer dates. So we'll be popping up with a microdose for that. And next Tuesday is someone's birthday. Oh, the Neil Young Minute. Yes. Yeah, like I said, the Neil Young Minute. Just vamp for me. Come on.
What, do you have one?
I'm going to.
Oh, you're pulling it up?
I am.
I'd rather just talk about how you don't have it ready. Make it super
that's
awkward.
no fun. Well, I thought that Jen was going to be here.
I know, man. Shit happens.
Shit does happen. So I didn't think that we would be doing any Neil Young minutes. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. You want to see my tank? Can I nerd out for a second?
Yeah, you can.
I got a Land Raider. Ooh, Space Wolf Land Raider. And that's sick. You're not even looking.
Let me say, what is it?
It's a tank for the Warhammer models. I do the painting on them. Looks sick.
Nice. What is
Yeah.
what is the little thing
What little thing?
on the side? What is that sticker?
Glass cannons, and it's a
No,
carry.
is the sticker like some tribe or something?
Oh yeah, Space Wolves. It's the army that I run. You know what's funny is nobody's fucking into it right now, but I have a theory that this shit's gonna blow up, and like in like 5 years, everybody's gonna be like, it's gonna be like the new thing. Everything's gonna be fucking awesome. I love it. It's awesome.
Right. Neil Young is cool as shit, and he's working on some stuff, and he will have something for you soon. And that's your Neil Young minute.
All right, guys, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Like I said, we get to an hour, no problem.
No problem.
Doc, do you know where your kids are?
MC Roach.
Sit, Ubis.